to another episode of the Corner of Craft podcast. It's been a while, hasn't it? Hi, I hope you're all well. Sorry about the hiatus. I had no excuse for not podcasting last week. I just didn't. But it does mean I have an extra finished object, so swings and roundabouts. I don't have a tea today. I'm drinking a Diet Coke. The weather is delightful and not warm but not cold, and I just really honestly couldn't be asked to make myself a cup of tea. That doesn't happen very often, but I just couldn't be bothered, so I have a can of Coke instead. I hope you're all well. So I've already said my name is Hannah. I'm coming at you today from a gloriously sunny Nottingham in the middle of England, the Midlands, although to everyone south of London it is the north, which is, I am from the south, which is why I sound like this instead of having a Nottingham accent. I am the owner and creator behind the Corner of Craft and also Chromatic Yarns. The Corner of Craft is my overall business. I bead tiny stitch markers, you'll see some as we go along, and Chromatic Yarns is my yarn dyeing business, in which I dye yarn inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, because I'm a huge nerd and I'm not ashamed to admit that. She says, wearing a Gem and the Holograms t-shirt. I'm too cool, I'm too cool. So today's podcast doesn't actually have too much knitting in, but I do have quite a few additions to my hoard behind, which I even picked some bits out to destash, and there's still a lot there, so good news all round. Need to cast things on a bit quicker. Where shall we begin? Shall we begin with finished objects? I think that probably makes the most sense. Oh, if you'd like to follow me on social media, please feel free. Let's pop it here. Links can all be found in the description of the video. I am most active on Instagram. Don't ever use Snapchat anymore, so I should probably adjust my little thing that pops up. I rarely use Snapchat. I Snapchat a few people every now and then. And then, what else? Ravelry, I have it. There's a Ravelry group. We're called the Corner of Craft podcast, I think. And in there you can ask me any questions that you like. If I'm feeling fruity, you might get podcast notes. Let's not make promises I can't guarantee to keep, but we can try. So how have you been? I hope you've all been well. I had a yarn show a couple of weeks ago now, which was the Wool Monty. That was up in Sheffield at the Fly DSA Arena. I was really concerned because, okay, Sheffield is only about 40 to 50 minutes away from Nottingham, and Mario's got family there, so we were able to stay with them, which was really nice. But I hate being late to places. My hair's very frizzy today, apologies. I hate being late to places. So we packed up the car, which was far quicker than I thought it would be, and drove off. Got there 10 minutes before set-up time, but they still allowed us into set-up. So when I went into set-up, it was super early in the set-up day, and so most of the room was empty, and I walked in and I was like, oh, don't know how well we're gonna fill this. Turns out very well. It was a great venue. It wasn't too noisy because it's designed as a concert venue, so it absorbs sound very well. And then there were nice wide aisles between booths, so great for people who hate clamped claustrophobic yarn festivals, and also fantastic for people with either mobility aids or even pushchairs with babies in or young children. Great venue. Looking at the numbers, because the Wool Monty crew have posted all the numbers online, great footfall, but it never felt too busy, which was really nice. I didn't feel too stressed or too like I feel like I would do if I was vending at other yarn festivals. Plus I had a nice corner booth so Mario and I could step back and let people in, because I only put stuff in 2 corners and then there was just like space. It was perfect. So that's what I was up to, which is why I didn't podcast, because I over prepared. But the good news about over preparing is I don't have that much to bead weave, at least. I have yarn to dye, but I've kind of almost started doing that. I definitely should have done it more. Don't have that much to bead weave in preparation for Yarningham, which is in 2 weeks' time. Probably should have done some more work on it this week than I have done so far. Right. Let's get into finished object before I fart around anymore. So the first finished object that I have, and it is finished, and it is blocked, and I've woven in all the ends, and it's covered in my hair because I'm old like anybody's business. But I just haven't trimmed off the ends, because I usually weave in the ends, block it, trim off the ends. Works out for me. Is the crosshatch hat that I knit. It's pretty massive. I'm going to trim this end. It's pretty massive, so I don't know how I feel about it. I haven't really played around with it about how I'm going to wear it. It's a crosshatch hat by Risen Knits. That's the pattern. The yarn is Dusty Dimples in her Nelly Pot colour in a merino nylon sock blend. Oh no, it does look pretty cute. It's just got so much fabric. If you have a smaller head, you might want to adjust how many stitches you cast on. Because I have a giant head and I don't knit as tightly as I used to, in all fairness, but I don't think I'm a loose knitter by any means. But it's just it's a little bit big, but it's pretty cute. It's called the crosshatch hat. Yeah, because it's got this really cute crosshatch pattern on it, which was a faff to knit, but worth it because it looks nice. And I love a mint green. Although saying that, all of the yarn that I have bought is not mint green. But yeah, I think I'm just going to have to play around with how I wear it and slouch it and whatnot. But it's just a cute slouchy hat to put on when it's either a little bit chilly or I need to leave the house and I can't be asked to wash my hair. Ta-da! But you see, it is a bit big because I shake my head, it comes off. So, I mean, I did just aggressively shake my head. It's a little bit big, but it's super cute and it's very soft. This wool from Dusty Dimples is the softest thing in the world, and it's probably not the softest thing in the world. I've never felt what the softest thing in the world is, but it's incredibly soft merino wool, and it's on a high twist, but it's still 75/25, and it was just really fun to knit because it's not just like a block mint colour. It's got areas where it's a bit lighter, and it's got some really pretty speckles in, it's got some pink in and whatnot. So yes, 10 out of 10. Much enjoy this hat, even if it is a little bit big for my giant head. See, that's the problem with being the person who has the big head. I don't have anyone I can gift hats that are slightly too large to. That did make sense. My next finished object is also can be used for stash enhancement, I suppose. I got some sock blockers. So these sock blockers are from Obscure Designs on Etsy. My friend so generously gave me an Etsy gift voucher for my Christmas birthday combo, because we don't see each other that often during the year. We tend to do either combo presents or all at once. Yeah, so after umming and ahhing about what was worthy, I treated myself to some sock blockers, and they're really nice, and they were very inexpensive. I think they were £13, and then there was postage on top of it for handmade wooden sock blockers. So that's pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to use them to block socks, but they're very nice for showing off socks at yarn festivals and also on podcasts. So worthy investment. So the socks that I have finally finished are the Sock Nest socks by Elizabeth of Salapalooza Knits. huge congratulations to Elizabeth and her new husband. They got married recently, so that's very exciting. But yes, I cast these on the train home from Edinburgh with the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and then I just kind of ignored them for a while. And then I've now finished them. I don't know what's wrong with me. But they've got this really cute, this really cute cabley design down with increases and decreases. And I said this last time, but depending on how big your foot is, depends on how many stitches, oh, that's one of my hairs that I've knit into this, depends on how many stitches, oops, sorry, you end up with at the end. So I had too many stitches on the front of my foot, so I had to do some harsh decreasing on the toe on one side. But that's fine, it worked out. It's just something to be cautious of. The yarn I have used is actually Chromatic Yarns. It's one of my sock sets. It is the Dancing Lights sock set. And yes, this one came with me as a show sample. It's got a little label on it. And yeah, they're kind of mirrored. It would be this way around. I guess it could be the other way around. So the patterns on the outside of the foot, very nice. But yes, I much enjoyed knitting these, and they're very cute, and I really like the yarn for it. Because it's a pattern speckled yarn, but it's not like, whoa, there's so many speckles, I can't see the pattern, you know? Good explanation, me. My final finished object is a baby jumper. It's not blocked, can you tell? I finished this late last night. So my driving instructor became a granddad for the first time, and I got home and got really excited and cast on a jumper to give him to pass on to the baby. And then as I was knitting on it, and the more I was knitting on it, the more I thought, is that a little bit weird? I mean, if my driving instructor had just become a dad for the first time, or a parent for the first time, I would have probably done it, but I don't know if that's just a bit weird. So I left it alone for a while, and then someone commented on Instagram and said, oh, I haven't seen the finished result of the baby jumper, what does it look like? And I hadn't finished it, so I picked it up yesterday, finished off one of the sleeves, can't remember which one, doesn't matter, finished off one of the sleeves while watching Catfish, and then knit the entire other sleeve in a couple of hours. So baby jumpers, man, they knit very quickly. The reason it's sitting so weirdly, I think, like, what is this, is because I've used acrylic yarn, and it's also just unblocked, and I probably need to pin it and block it and make it not go woo. Yeah, I've used Stylecraft Special 4-ply in the silver colourway, and it's super soft. So I will just add this to my stack of baby clothes, because I'm approaching 30, so that's usually the age where various people seem to be having babies, and I have a few friends who are expecting and whatnot, so this can just go into the stash. So if somebody declares, like if my driving instructor had declared I would become a granddad and I didn't have to knit a full jumper and I just have one sat there, I probably just would have gifted it to him, but ta-da. So yes, this is the Flax Light jumper by Tin Can Knits. I have knit this a few times. This is the age, the first size, so 0 to 6 months. So it's pretty long in the body and pretty long in the sleeves for a newborn baby, but it should fit them for up to 6 months, which is quite good. This Stylecraft acrylic is also incredibly soft, so good for le bébé, je crois, but I might be wrong. Ooh, that French R did not go according to plan. It's what I get for trying to show off. Didn't have enough moisture. Good times. Cool. Oh, my voice is cracking. Shall we get into, that's actually all the finished objects I have. It's really sad. But shall we get into whips and hose, shall we? Shall we? While we're not talking socks anymore. While we're talking socks, living in the little grey girl wizard bag that if you came to the Wool Monty you would have seen hanging off my arm. I also was at the Wool Monty just sort of technically behind and across from me, but I could see her booth because I don't have tall walls in my booth, was a lovely lady called Holly who did needle felting, and her business is Holly Heartfelt, kind of like heartfelt but also heartfelt. And I went round and checked out her booth because every so often she'd just put another magnificent thing up. She had this gorgeous Totoro needle felted thing that was about yay big and incredible, and a really cute baby penguin as well, and I kind of wanted all of them but thought, what am I going to do? So I treated myself to practical things. I bought a tiny Beemo from Adventure Time. He's like a little, kind of looks a bit like a Game Boy, but he's like a teal colour. Anyway, I bought him on a keyring for my sister because she likes Beemo, he's cute. And then I bought myself this little bumblebee. And they were very reasonably priced. So yeah, I bought that on the first day and then had it hanging off my bag. So I walked around to see it and I was like, look, it's on my project bag. Yeah. So in this bag is the project that I was knitting whilst I was at the Wool Monty, and I've actually finished it now. Need to weave in the end still, but that's okay. I've not popped it on a sock blocker yet. So I cast this on the first day of the show, because I like having something to do with my hands, and I'm awkwardly stood. And I knit about to here on the first day, didn't really get much done. And then by the time the second day was finished, which says a little bit about how busy the second day was, I got to here. I knit a heel while standing and did perfectly, except for I missed a decrease, so just did it later on, and that's okay. So the sock is a basic, normal vanilla, if you will. I did 15 rounds of 2x2 rib. I did 64 stitches on a 2.25mm needle, because that is the gauge that I'm most comfortable with, and fits my foot best. Yeah, and then I knit the leg till I thought it was long enough, and then I did a new depth heel, which is a pattern by Becky Sorensen. It's very good for people that have high insteps / arches, depending on what you say. I have incredibly high arches, so I use this heel all the time. I used it on this sock too. I think it calls for a heel flap and gusset on the original pattern, but I just adjusted it and did it that one instead. I mean, you increase X amount of stitches, you knit the heel, and then you decrease X amount of stitches. And like I said, I just missed a decrease on one of the sides. But that's not bad going for standing up, knitting at a yarn show whilst walking around and chatting to people. Like, it was pretty good. I'm quite proud of myself. And then just a standard wedge toe, I believe is what it's called. I'm a little bit out the loop of knitting podcasts and knitting terminologies. I've not watched a knitting podcast in a little bit now, and I really, really want to get back on it because I need to get inspired for what to make with this. Yes, so this yarn is Chromatic Yarns. Obviously, I'm not going to be sat at my booth knitting somebody else's yarn. And it is in the unicorn colourway, which Mario was very surprised that this is unicorn. But in D&D, unicorns look like this. So I think this is a pretty accurate representation of that colour. It looks a bit grey. It's not grey. Let's get that fold out from my knitting. So it's just like the natural base with like a goldeny yellow and dark grey and a bit of silvery grey thrown in. Grello. It is the perfect Grello speckle and I love it. So yes, this was one sock. I have not cast on the next sock yet because I'm going to be knitting that at Yarningham, but I can now have this one as a show sample, which is always nice. So that is why that's living in that bag, because even my knitting bag had to be on brand, and it's got wizards on it, so it's D&D related. Ooh, this Diet Coke's giving me the gurgles. While we're talking about socks. So this is just my handbag knitting, if that makes sense. So this gorgeous yarn was sent to me by Alison of Lofty Loops. It is her November sock club from last year, obviously. And I had it in the stash and I was looking at it. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to cast on an autumnal sock as we're approaching summer. But yeah, I just kind of want to get some gift knits done. And a nice knitted pair of socks is always a welcome gift. So these are on 2.5mm needles, I'm pretty sure. Yes, these are on 2.5mm needles. When I say any needle, I'm always using higher sharps. Not because I'm a snob, purely because I don't own any other needles and I quite enjoy them. Oh, I've just remembered another finished object. I'll get that after this. So it's a, yeah, I did probably 18 rounds of 1x1 rib. I can't remember. I don't know why I did so many. And then the sock itself is a 3x1 knit 3 purl 1 rib. And then new depth heel, I only increased 2 stitches, I think, instead of my usual. And now I'm just knitting the foot, because I don't know who these are going to be gifted to, so I only increased 2 stitches, but hopefully the stretch across the top will still be enough from the fact it's ribbing. But it's really gorgeous yarn. It came with the mini as well, which I'm using as contrast. And then my little stitch marker that I've got to keep me company is a little dinosaur from Yarnistry. He makes these gorgeous acrylic stitch markers. I've used them a fair amount. I've got a little one sat. I have one somewhere, I saw it earlier, so I don't know where that's gone. But yes, it's just this gorgeous autumnal colour. Oh, I hadn't noticed that it's kind of striping down. Of like a watermelon-y colour with yellows and charcoal, and it's just my handbag knitting. It's just quite nice. So this is making slow progress because I tend to knit it just like on the bus when I go into town, which isn't very often, or I didn't take any knitting with Marion. I did our Harry Potter walk. That was a mistake. But yeah, very nice. I need to get on it because it's very nice. I need to go get my other finished object, and also my back camera's about to stop recording anyway, because that's what point and shoot cameras do. Okay, so the other finished object that I have, that I've actually worn a couple of times, so is my Magpie Tendency that I knit to wear at the Wool Monty on the first day, and it's covered in makeup. So we'll pretend that the bit with makeup on is the back, and I'll show you the actual back. So this is my Magic Missile colourway, and then the contrast is my Mero colourway, which I had some left over from my So Faded that I knit. And it's an oversized cropped top that I wore over the top of a dress, which was very nice. It's used less than 1 skein of 4-ply. Here is the rest of the skein from it. So that's pretty cool. I've still got a nugget. So you could probably knit the whole thing out of 1 skein. I just fancied contrast. You could definitely knit this out of a sock set, which is really cool, and I'm tempted to do. But yeah, I really want to make some more of these because they're just really nice and versatile to throw over a dress and make it look a bit different. The things that I would change would be, I knit the size that the pattern recommended with the amount of ease it called for, and I think I'd probably go down a size from that because I like my clothes with a bit less ease, which is just a personal preference thing. And I would also maybe buy some needles in the size that I need in either a bamboo or a wooden needle, because I was using my high sharps, and it calls for 6.5mm needles, which is pretty hefty for skinny 4-ply. But I forgot to say what base these are knit on, because I'm the worst. But this is knit on my Sturdy Sock base, all of them have been, which is my BFL and nylon blend. But yeah, it was just a bit slippery and it got a little infuriating at times. But I reckon, yeah, I'd knit another one, maybe get wooden needles instead, which would take out some of the slipperiness. But it's just really nice and drapey. But yeah, I do really, really like it and have worn it since. I would just go down a size, I think, because I knit the 46-inch bust, and so that gave me about 6 inches of positive ease, which is what the pattern called for, and I think I would actually knit the 40-inch bust, so it would just fit me, you know? And yeah, it just looks massive. But it's not. When you put it on, it's not. Oh no, it is pulling under the arm. Or how I dropped a stitch. The fun challenge. Pretty sure I didn't drop a stitch. No, I think it's just because it's big needles. And it just looks like I've dropped a stitch, but I haven't, just here. That's okay, that's under the arm. No one's looking that closely under your arm, and if they are, they're too close to you. But yes, this was my other finished object, and it's blocked out really softly, which is always delightful. But yeah, I will save this for Yarningham as well, because I'm located in the conservatory in Yarningham, and in my experience of conservatories, I'm going to be a little bit toasty. I was a bit cold at the Wool Monty, but the weather has changed. So my final work in progress is living in my gorgeous Villenvine Yarns bag that Kristin gifted to me when we did our Christmas swap a couple of years ago now. And yeah, when I got home from the Wool Monty, I just thought, I don't have to spend the next 4 weeks beading until my fingers bleed, because I have stitch markers left over. I can cast on some form of garment, and you know what? I bloody did. This is TCPT, the perfect crop top. No, it's TPCT. Yeah, the perfect crop top by, I can't remember who it's by, but I'll link it in my show notes. Yes, and this is using the yarn that I had fully intended for the task. I bought this when at Edinburgh Yarn Festival in 2017, when Becky made her flying visit, because she'd knit one of these in 8 days, which was insano. I obviously have not knit this in 8 days, because I'm taking my sweet, sweet time with it and keep getting distracted by my phone. But she said how much yarn it had used, so I thought, I too will try and make one, even though she is significantly smaller than me, so hindsight, maybe should have got 3 skeins, but I didn't. This is in the mint colourway by Martin's Lab on their Comfy Merino base, which is 100% superwash merino. I bought 2 skeins. I didn't alternate skeins on the top bit because I didn't want a seam down a shoulder or anywhere. So I didn't alternate skeins on the top bit, and then started to alternate under the sleeves, and then noticed how different the 2 skeins are, and then stopped alternating. So I have a bit left to do the tops of the sleeves, so it's not like a sudden change. Because I don't know if it shows. The top is much paler and more speckled than the bottom, and they were the same dye lot. But such is the way with indie dyed yarns. It is the risk that you take. And yes, this is just a much paler one, which is kind of annoying, but life. So I'm currently just knitting with this one. This is saved for the sleeves, so I can either fade it into this or just knit a tiny short sleeve with it. I have finished doing the back decreases. This is contrast to the magpie tendencies. This is meant to have some negative ease, so I went down. Well, I went for the size that it suggested, and it's going okay. I reckon this would fit over my bust. Yeah, I finished the back decreases. I'm currently working towards the front decreases, and yes, I really like it. Much enjoy. I reckon it's just going to be a short sleeved one, but that's also okay. I have a few skirts it would go with. I have a few dresses it could go over the top of. I was excited to knit something, so I cast it on and I'm going for it. So yes, that is what this is. Even though the speckles are not perfect, I think I will still get some use out of it. Except for the increases they use is make one, and it's a yoked design, so you just make one well, it tells you how often you make one. And for me this has caused a bit of an uneven pattern texture, which it's not the end of the world, but that's why it looks a bit like an unraveled sock blank is my definition of the texture. But yeah, ta-da! God, my hair is awful. I literally look like I fell out of bed. I have not. I've had quite the busy morning. I walked into town to get some more citric acid and also to play my Harry Potter game a bit and get some steps in and unlock some port keys. You know how it is. Oh, I need to check out those port keys actually. Yeah, so I walked into town, which is only about 20 minutes each way, and then wandered around town, so I was gone for about an hour, according to my Fitbit. And then I got back and I chilled out for a second and I ate an apple and existed. I perfectly timed a YouTube video to watch before my driving lesson, and then my driving instructor was 10 minutes early, so then I had a driving lesson. So I'm a bit brain fried because we were doing manoeuvres. Anyway, I haven't just got out of bed, but I do love this bag. I was sorting through my project bags the other day and forgot I had this one, so glad I have a jumper to put in it. Yeah, I totally just threw that on the floor. So, I would like to cast on some more things. Always. Okay. I shared this on my Instagram stories the other day. Today? Shared it today. I really basically want to copy Landstring Yarn's Sippala that she knit. I have the yarn. I have this that I bought at EYF, and I have this that is my own that I dyed in Moonbeam. That was knit as a jumper with the mint that I'm using, but the contrast wasn't high enough and looked awful. So I want to knit that Sippala. So maybe that will be my next cast on. Also, I was going through yarn to destash, because just some of the yarn that I had, I've just grown out of it, I suppose. My style has changed a little bit, the colours that I wear. And I was going to get rid of this, but it's so pretty. I don't know if I can. So I'm tempted to knit another Blue Hour sweater, which was the first jumper I ever knit, but out of this, and maybe either this left over, or I have some mint green, or I could even do this leftover. You know, I have the leftovers to go with it. But yeah, it's a tough one. I just want to knit some more jumpers, please, and thank you, so I can wear them when the time's right. Right, enough babbling. Let's get on to what I've been spending my money on. Actually, let's get on to what I've been gifted. So the lovely Nessa of Kilter Craft podcast knit herself a turban using Poison Girl Amy Apple's pattern, but Ness decided that she didn't have enough hair to pull it off. She knows that I like mine, so she gifted it to me, so now I have it. and hers fits me much better than mine fits me. She did a much stretchier cast on than me. It fits my giant head, so just need to, ta-da! It's really cute. Obviously, you don't wear it like that, but that was the first thing. I don't know what yarn it is. I don't know anything about it, except for I love it and it's colourful and fun and would actually go really well with today's outfit. Maybe I'll put it on after this. Not that I'm going anywhere after this. It's just Mario that will see me. The other thing that I was gifted, that I brought up and have put somewhere safe. Here. This is 2 out of the 3. So the lovely Tara of she's one of the 2 of Woolberts. She made some tiny stitch markers that I love, and there's one on my jumper that I'll show you in a second. So yes, this is their logo, the Woolberts sheep, and then this is my logo, the Cotton Craft teacup that you would have seen. Yep. And yes, they have a podcast, which is the Woolberts podcast, and it's laser cut into wood. It smells really good. She also gifted me a bigger one of my logo, which was like the first one she did, then she realised they're too big, which is downstairs on my keys. Very tickly throat. I feel like I might be getting ill. Yes. And the last one that she did was a D20, which is a 20-sided dice, which is used in Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, and this is one of my stitch markers. My tiny sloth, but yes. They're so cute and I love them. And they're really lightweight and they smell really nice. And yes, I'm tempted to put on some of the same findings that I use for my stitch markers, so I can also use them as progress keepers if I want to. The possibilities are endless, but they do work really well with this size ring as well. So yes, I love them. Thank you very much, Tara, for giving them to me. I love them. Okay, so the first thing that I bought at the Wool Monty, the first thing I bought at the Wool Monty, I think, was actually the Bumblebee, but I can't remember. But I also, from Ducky Darlings, who is, I want to say Nottingham based, but Derbyshire. I lied. I'm terribly sorry about that. My mistake. Derbyshire based. Yes, she has a litmus cowl kit. And it came both packaged together, but I took them out of the packet because I'm a rebel. So yes, this is the pattern by Amy Florence of Stranded Dye Works that she knit out of yarn that she had. And Ducky Darlings has dyed up some kits for it, which is really cute. So I can't show off the colours. I'm gonna have to take out the label. I'm sorry for the wrestling. So it comes with a skein of the Superwash Merino Knack. 70% Superwash Merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon base. This is the undyed yarn and it's so soft. And I did some Googling of yak a while ago, and it's meant to keep you incredibly warm. This is going a lot, okay. My reasoning behind purchases Now I Dye Yarn, I don't need to explain myself. My reasoning behind yarn Now I Dye It Myself, and just to keep my stash under control a little bit, I have a bit of a tick list. Is it a base that I stock? Can I dye that technique myself? That's it, those are my 2 criteria. So this is a yak base, which I do not currently stock. And then these mini skeins are all a Fantastic Solid, which I also can't dye that well. And yes, so the litmus cowl is a massive tube that you can wrap around twice, and I'm very excited because it's going to be so soft. And the mini skeins are also the yak, so there's 6 times 20 grams, so what's that, 120 grams in here, and then 100 grams of this bad boy. And it's really cute and I really like it, and I'm very excited to make it. So that's on my to knit list. So that'll be a nice mindless round knit, which is always welcome sometimes. And then I visited Liz, aka the Yarn Badger, and was stood at her booth for a while. We've been talking a while online, and she came up to me on the first day of the Wool Monty and she said, oh hi, and I was like, oh hey, you're right. She's like, oh, I'm the Yarn Badger. I had no idea what she looked like. I was terribly embarrassed. She does fantastic self-striping yarn, which is also something I cannot do. I do not have the patience to do the maths to work out self-striping. So I will always support a self-striper because I love stripy socks. I think they're really fun. So this is called A Slice of Rainbow. It's her 80% superwash BFL with 20% nylon. It's 400 meters per 100 grams. I love how she's packaged it with these little things, which is really cool. I wanted to get her BFL bamboo base. There's a lot of B's in that sentence. BFL bamboo base. But she didn't have it in this colour, and I was drawn to this colour because it was a new base that she had in. She already had dyed up a lot of stock for the show. Also, her logo is the cutest little knitting badger, which as a Hufflepuff, I very much appreciate. But I really liked, she has all of them all knit up, it's impressive. But I really liked how this is a rainbow, but it's kind of like slightly muted, retro kind of looking rainbow instead of like a bright, vibrant rainbow. Does that make sense? So I got rainbow because rainbow socks are always fun. And if I use contrast heel toes cuffs, I have a charcoal that I could use. I have black that I could use. There are many. I should be able to get 2 pairs of socks out of this. So if you know me in life and would like a pair of rainbow socks in real life, and you can't knit but watch a podcast and want a pair of in real life rainbow socks, and your feet aren't that much bigger than mine, let me know. Oh wow, that was a lot of criteria to meet, wasn't it? So then, new to me dyer, who I don't think is a new dyer, but like I said, new to me. She was across the booth from me. She was just like across the way. And her son was there on setup day, I think. I saw her son at several points. I was like, how are you doing this? It's magical. I suppose it's like Verity and Mez of Truly Hooked being able to have their children with them when they vend. It's crazy sauce. But great admiration for people who can do things with toddlers around. As someone who doesn't have children, so maybe it's easier than I think it is, but in my head it's not easy. Anyway, Claire Nettleship, new to me, dyer, wonderful woman, very nice. I spent quite a lot of time chatting to her on a couple of occasions. This caught my eye. I wanted to get 3 skeins and knit myself a jumper, and then I thought, hold back a little bit, maybe don't. Maybe get 1. Do things not intensely. Baby steps. So I've got 1 skein. This is in her colour Unicorn Kisses. It's her standard sock base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. The standard, if you will, for a lot of people. I can't do delicate, dainty speckles like these bad boys. So that was my reasoning. There was no reasoning. I just really liked this skein and thought it looked beautiful, and that's not going to focus on my face if I click it there, because it's got some hot pink, and then it's got some like really nice sky blue colour with some speckles of either charcoal or black or whatever. But to go with it, I got this skein, same base but in the colour charcoal, and I'm going to do a 2 colour shawl, I think. Also, this would be very cute at the bottom of a novelli, but I don't know what I would put as the main colour if I were to use these 2 as the bottom of a novelli. But yes, I think this would be a really nice 2 colour shawl. Very pretty. Maybe even the Tits Out shawl that I knit from Das Monscharf yarn that I bought, that I knit and basically lived in all winter. So maybe I'll knit another one of those because I obviously like it. But yes, I do remember it being a bit of a slog. But these are really cute and I liked them, yay. I feel like I'm showing off, I'm not. So then I got makeup on this when I tried it on, and so I mean, I was very glad that it fit me, but I felt really bad that I managed to get makeup on it when I tried it on. I hated it. So, from the lovely ladies of Stitcher Tees, I don't know where the label's gone, but I bought myself one of these jumpers. I loved the black on black, and she had this in my size, in the flocked. This is soft. I'm just feeling my boobs, I apologise. And it says knitter. Holding it like this, but it's black on black. It looks really cool. I got medium. It's just like a fitted sweatshirt size on me. I could put it on, I suppose. But yeah, it's not like a loose baggy comfy sweatshirt. It's like a fitted sweatshirt on me, which I also like. So I have loose baggy sweatshirts. So I liked this one. Also, to the ladies that came to the booth and spoke to Mario, who was desperately signalling for me to come over. Sorry, I was shopping. My bad. It'd been quiet all morning on the Sunday, so I quickly popped over to get it. And then as soon as I was there and was trying it on, Mario was waving for me to come back. And I was like, oh, I should have said, sorry. I'll come back in 2 seconds, put it aside. But I did not, but that's okay. They came back. Yes. Ta-da! Love this. I'm excited for the colder weather so I can actually wear it. So this was my splurge purchase, because I mean, it's not like, oh my god, it's that expensive. It's worth what it is. But before the Wool Monty, I had to have a couple of months of low income, so that was my splurge purchase. And then the final thing that I bought separately that actually came today, that I could have bought at the Wool Monty and then didn't. I saw that one of the lovely ladies, I can't remember which one, of the Knit 3 Together podcast. I think they're the Knit 3 Together, is that what they're called? They're triplets. We spoke for hours, not hours, we spoke for a hefty amount of time about D&D. They are called Knit 3 Together. And it was Terry who posted this. And it was, she'd just finished a hat, I think in this yarn, or maybe not this one. But she had been asked by non-knitters, why would you just knit yourself a plain black hat? Why wouldn't you just buy one? So I decided to, she talked about the yarn and blah blah blah, and I've always wanted to try a yarn with this base. So it doesn't say the exact percentages, but it's a 4-ply yarn. Recycled natural fibre yarn with possum, which is exciting. So there's 50 grams in each one. I got 2. I want to make myself a plain black hat, because to go with everything, although this isn't black, this is in the colour slate, I believe. The colour's not on here, but this yarn is part of the Sockmatician edition, and Nathan was there, so I could have bought it there and saved postage, but I didn't realise. I thought it was just, I don't know what I thought. So I got a couple of balls to make myself a sock head hat in this dark grey colour to basically live in through the winter, and could probably go with the shawl I'm going to knit for myself. I do need to stop wearing one shawl all winter, because a couple of years ago that was my exploration station I lived in, and then last year it was my Tits Out Collective one that I knit. So I need to start mixing them up a bit more. I need to find a place to store them in where I can just reach for them and knit them. But yeah, possum is meant to be, learnt this from the Wet Coast Wools podcast when Bernadette was still there, and I watched it religiously. Not that she's the reason I stopped watching it. As I said, I haven't watched a podcast in a really long time. Oh no. Let's get those creases out my head. Possum is meant to be incredibly warm in the same way that like possum fur is meant to be made up the same way that polar bear fur is. And when I'm talking about possum, I'm talking about like New Zealand possums, not American possums, like Australasian possums, because this is made in New Zealand by Skeins.com and the Sockmatician. There are loads of gorgeous colours available on the Sockmatician's website, but yeah, I just wanted to give it a go. It's very soft and very nice, and I think it will keep my head very warm. Unfortunately, possums do have to be killed in order to get the fur, essentially, but that's, I know that's awful, but the British, when they invaded down there, oh, there you are, Mr. Spider. Hi, I've been looking for you the last couple of days. Yes, we decided to take the possums that were found on Australia and take them off across to New Zealand, because, you know, the same place. Possums do not have any natural predators in New Zealand, and so they're kind of now considered a pest and are culled. So at least something positive is coming out of it. A hat for me, if that makes sense. You know, just to keep it under control, otherwise they're just going to destroy everything. You know, in the same way that in the New Forest in the UK, the deer is culled every so often. They would just pick off the ones that would just be killed in the wild anyway. Otherwise, disease would overtake and they'd all kill each other off, and then they'd all be dead, and then that's just not good. The deer man was very adamant to explain it to my mother and I once when I was trying to make my way across to a toilet. The New Forest, it's a magical place. It's not, but if you stop off at any like villages or towns in New Forest, there can be like wild ponies walking through. It's really cool. So, the final thing that I have to do that's knitting related is, when I got back from the Belmonte, I had this waiting for me. Knit Crate. I've decided to open it in this video. Knit Crate is so kind and generous enough to send me a crate to open and review. I am not explicitly paid by Knit Crate to say anything particularly one way or the other. I do have an affiliate link with them, which can be found in the description box below. And they have given me a discount code of Corner of Craft 20 for 20% off your first box. But they do not pay me. So if nobody uses my affiliate link, I don't get any money, is what I'm trying to say. They don't pay me to say nice things. Knit Crate is a monthly subscription service whereby you get a skein or two of yarn. You can either sign up to the sock membership crate or the normal membership crate. I get the normal membership crate, and I still need to post off last month's giveaway prize, but I've already seen what the colourways are for this month, but I don't know which one I've received. So oh, it's a nice one. I mean, they were both nice ones, but oh my goodness, this is so soft. So this is Vida Lana, which is dyed for Knit Crate, in the colourway Wee Violets. It's 48% merino wool, 20% baby alpaca, 32% organic cotton. It's a DK weight yarn, 250 meters per 100 grams. And yes, it's like this kind of faded looking purple colour, which is really nice. And as well, tape measure, which is always a great thing. So you get a little book with it as well. Ooh, next month's theme is Circus Circus. So good they named it twice. Sorry. It's like that's couscous, isn't it? Oh no, that's New York, New York, not couscous. I don't know. Baden Baden, that was also a line I'd make it for whenever we were talking about that in French politics. And I know that Baden Baden's in Germany, but Georges Pompidou went to Baden-Baden during Mai 68, so soz. Glad I remembered all of that. That's a useful thing to remember when you're running your own business. So this month's membership crate features a new base, and I've read out what the blend is. It's braided into a unique chainette structure that gives every stitch abundant texture and squish. So I believe it's known as a blown yarn, but that just sounds a bit rude. So I don't know. So you could have either got the colour I did, or this gorgeous peachy colour, which is called Tiger Lily, which is very nice. This magazine does not feel as sturdy as past ones. They've gone for a softer front cover than previous. Usually it's got a bit more structure to it. Ooh, so if you were to get the sock membership crate, I'll show you what the yarn is in a moment. You get a colourway called Calico Quilt, which is a gorgeous colourway. It's 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% cashmere. And then the patterns. So you get 2 patterns with Knit Crate membership, and you also get the sock membership too. So you get a knitting pattern and a crochet pattern. This one is the knitting pattern. It is called Rose of Lavender Shawl, which is very pretty. And it is both written and charted, which is always nice, and it's a very pretty shawl. And in this yarn, I think it'll be very comfy and soft. And then Golden Afternoon is the crochet pattern. It uses front and back post crochet. Come on. And that's just like a long shawl as opposed to like a crescent or a triangle. And that one is fully written out as well, and also charted. Also charted. You can turn it into a cowl if you prefer. There are variations. And then this sock crate, you get this gorgeous pattern, which are the whimsical socks, which is a gorgeous cabled sock. Very nice. And then there are some things in the pop-up shop as well, which is very nice. And this is next month's theme, Circus Circus. So, as I've started to do lately with Knit Crate things, I will be giving these away because I obviously have enough yarn here, and have some Knit Crate yarn in a prize bin. I haven't done a knit along in a while, so my prize bin's just stacking up. So my next knit along is obviously going to have loads of prizes. Maybe I'll do a sweater cowl or something. I'll think about that after yarning them. Yes, I will be doing a giveaway for this entire box. So you get the 2 skeins of yarn, you get the tape measure, and you get the patterns. All you have to do is head on over to my Ravelry group and answer the prompt. The closing date will be in there too. And yes, I will let you know on Ravelry where if you win or not. So be sure to check your Ravelry messages. That's all I'm gonna say. Because yeah, I had to hunt someone down on Instagram and let them know that they won, and I don't want to have to do that every single time because that's work. Or extra work, I suppose I should say. But if you'd like to get your hands on these 2 gorgeous skeins, feel free to enter the giveaway. Right. And for those that don't usually watch my Knit Crate opening videos, there's now a giveaway in them often. So, life, what's been going on? A potential wedding suit for Mario has arrived today, so that's very exciting. I have started doing Couch to 5K, which is a running program. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this. I don't run much, ever. But working from home and making stitch markers means I don't move much. So I've decided I need to get a bit fitter. So running is happening. I'm on week 4. I've done runs 1 and 2 on week 4. So it's 3 runs a week. And it's basically interval running. So you run for X amount of time and walk for X amount of time. I use the free app by the NHS, which is it's got Sarah Millican talking to me through it, which is lovely. I wish she'd tell more jokes and tell more funny stories so it would distract me from the fact I'm running. So yeah, I'm currently in the bit where I have to run for 5 minutes and then walk for 2 minutes, 2.5. I'm getting very, very lost on my runs. I did okay for the first 2 weeks. I was running and I was fine and I was able to go in a circle and I knew where I was. But now I do not know where I am because I have to go further. But it's fine, it means I have a longer walk home, which means I get to play Harry Potter Wizards Unite a bit longer because I cannot play as I run. I'm full of many tricks. But concentrating on posture, where you're landing on your feet, breathing properly, also trying to distract myself from the fact that I feel like I'm dying. I can't play Harry Potter as well. But yeah, I just play it on the walk home, which is nice, and I take a bit of a detour so I can catch a couple more inns. But yeah, started running, started to eat better, managed to lose 5 pounds, yeah, because I'm getting married in November and my wedding dress fits me, and I put on when I tried it on, and I put on a little bit of weight, so I needed to get that off because I don't want it to be tight on my wedding day because that's just uncomfortable. So yeah, what else has been happening? Not an awful lot. The Monty, it went well. I've just been focusing on that really. I'm glad that so many of you enjoyed the vlog. I really enjoyed doing it, so hopefully I will be able to do some more of those. Just general pottering about my house biz. Because yeah, I know that a lot of you enjoyed that, so thank you very much if you did. And I think that's everything I actually have to say. I don't have a whole lot to catch you up on in my life. Not a terrible amount happened. We've got the band booked for the wedding, which is nice. Invites are being sorted. Thanks, Anna, you're the best. But yeah, pretty sure that's everything. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Not only does it show me that you liked it, but it also promotes my video to other people that might. If you hated it, thumbs down does the same thing, so win-win. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you'd like. Let me know what you're knitting on. It's been a while since we connected, and I always like to know what you're all up to, because you know, we're like friends, you know. So it's always good to know what you're up to. I like to, I'm nosy. That's the real thing. Maybe pollen count's high and I have hay fever, but I have a tickle in the back of my throat that is killing me. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I would love to have you there, so please feel free. And thank you very much for watching. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!